How's it going? All right.
Good morning.
Juliet, how are you?
It's a very innovative solution. It's really out there. Where did the idea come from and what inspired you?
The brand sort of spirit and ethos coming to life.
It's opened up the cracks to identify what the deep-seated systemic problems are.
Other people take up yoga. This is my New Year's resolution.
For me, that's practical environmentalism.
Yeah.
Maybe we could genuinely have a conversation now about turning around.
Actually, it feels like such an opportunity now to get some of these stories told. It's great to hear other businesses' stories and understand kind of where they're coming from as an organisation. That would be great just to hear part of the story of where did it come from?
So I started Finisterre in 2003, and it was really born from my love of the sea. I was very lucky to have been in and around the sea since I was a very young age. In fact, my parents bringing me up, my sister and I up, said that they wanted to introduce a love of the sea into our lives, and that was something they did. And so it's always been part of my life, and in many forms. And in my formative years, it was surfing, and I think that was when a lot of people get into team sports, rugby or hockey or music or photography or art, whatever it is. Those formative years, you really find an identity. And for me, surfing was it, and it's sort of surfing I was doing over here. I then went to university, did marine biology, and after uni, I left uni, and suddenly real life started, and it wasn't how I imagined it being. I was in London, I was a chartered surveyor, and it wasn't, my life.
Wow, yeah.
It was kind of this sort of roller coaster of passion and energy and that sort of thing. I felt in zapped for me in London. So I started to work out how I could build a life around things that were important to me. And a brand is ultimately a set of, I suppose, emotional connections and beliefs. Yeah. You stand for something. And so I decided to start a brand called Finisterre. It means end of the earth, at Land's End. It's an old shipping forecast area on Radio 4 that I had very important.
Yes, of course. I've just recognised it now. I now remember it. Yeah, Finisterre. Fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of the, I remember driving around listening to that forecast in my parents' car and understanding what it meant, and people love it because it's very romantic, but it's actually there to save lives at sea. Yeah. So people who have never been near a boat or the sea in life still listen to it, but people will also listen to it around a ship's table or whatever, miles out to sea. I can remember listening to these the narrator reading the stories of storms and imagining boats miles out at sea. So for me, it had a strong kind of personal connection to the name, and it's a British thing. And so I decided to set the brand up for Finisterre. It's going to connect people to the sea. We're going to build a product that was going to enable that connection, built to last, sustainably made, innovative made. And it started in 2003 above a flat in a surf shop in St Agnes, where I live now. About 200 meters from where I'm sat now. And it was really about this higher purpose and the belief that we could, affect change on the world as we knew it. And that was the kind of, we had a very strong founding principles, a commitment to product, environment, and people that are still in the business today. So, been a long journey, and but one that is I'm very proud of where we are today.
You've got to survive as a business, so you've got that constant piece of where you're balancing, I guess, the income and the profits of the business versus the product, and I guess also your people, the people you employ, and you kind of got to keep those all in balance. Give us this insight of how you do that and how you think about that.
So that's a great question, and it's one that I don't think that I mean, I think people have been making it up. They said they'd worked it out. So it's something that we're constantly. I think our business is also quite like that as well. It's quite innovative. It's quite entrepreneurial. It's like we never say we've got all the answers. We never say we're perfect. We cause damage. We have problems. We can, and it's always this striving to do better, I suppose, and be a better sort of business, a better product. And that's kind of, that is, you never go, oh, we've made it, we're there, great, thanks very much. So in that respect, I mean, in terms of the sort of the economics of it, we've definitely had to not suffer, but have been held back economically by having this ethos as a brand. Particularly in the early years, I think, where it was very hard to get recycled fabrics and natural fibers and that sort of thing. Any sort of small amount. We're a small business. We need a small amount of fibers to make some wool, some merino jumpers or under base layers. We need some recycled polyester to make some jackets, and you can't get less than 2,000 meters. That's a real challenge for a business, and they're expensive. So we've definitely sacrificed early economic gains for a longer term brand position and sort of beliefs. So that's definitely happened. We're very lucky. We the office here at Real Kitty are 200 meters from the coast, from the Sea of St Agnes. So people are in the sea all the time. And every Tuesday we start work at 10 o'clock, and people use that extra time. We call it Sea Tuesday, and they spend extra time to get in the sea or go near the sea, or with their kids, or their dogs, or go for a surf, whatever it is. And they then come. We all meet at 10 o'clock, and we spend half an hour, talking about business and what everyone's experience was that morning with the sea and that sort of thing. So it's about reminding people about this higher purpose of why they're here in the business, to connect people to the sea. And so we try and live and breathe that as much as we can in the business. Everyone gets a wetsuit when they join. So it's any number of sort of little things, I think, that hopefully contribute to a culture that is here and aligned to the higher purpose.
There was a piece of research done by the RSA which talked about only something like 9% of people want to go back to the world or their life pre-COVID, and actually people are interested in clean air, more wildlife and stronger communities. Do you think that's going to play to you as a brand going forwards?
It's kind of weird actually, because we've been doing it for a long time now. There isn't a pivot change in what we're doing as a business because of everything that's happened. I think it's an interesting question. What is the role of brands at these times? Yeah. What role should we be playing? And if we can help connect people through the sea, maybe they can't get to it because of the lockdown, and we can help them, stay inspired or motivated. That's a real privilege for us to be able to do that as a brand. And we've definitely stepped that up. I think one of the first posts I did was about the arrival of the swallows right as COVID kind of kicked off, and the engagement actually was. I did it actually at my desk, and I looked like I've got young kids, so I probably hadn't that much sleep anyway. But I looked exhausted. Everyone's like, "Is Tom all right? Is Tom all right?" But it was quite a heartfelt, just off the cuff conversation around the arrival of swallows and the power of nature, and adopting the pace of nature. Her secret is patience, one of my favourite quotes, and how these little birds will fly 8,000 miles around the world to come and spend the summer over here, and they'll fly 40 days straight and arrive. And I'd always been seeing my mum about when who saw the first swallow, and almost like a race every year. So, and I think when you do see them, it was just saying, listen, you need to welcome them in and take real pleasure in seeing this bird fly across the sky, and you can see it anywhere, by the way. You don't have to be in Cornwall, you can see it anywhere around the country, town, city, wherever, and take real sort of pleasure and sort of appreciation in that fact. And there's a resilience in nature. So I think we talk about that quite a lot as a brand: resilience in nature, resilience of human spirit that we're seeing right now. So I think hopefully the brand really helped bring some of those stories to life. And I definitely personally as well get real inspiration and motivation from nature and the human spirit.
Wonderful. I love that. What do you think as a brand has been your biggest challenge, I guess from an ethical point of view, where you've had a head-on conflict between, say, commerciality and your beliefs? I mean, you've talked about some of the early struggles, but has there been a really obvious one where the two have really competed with each other and you had to make a sort of binary decision?
If you're setting out the brand, the purpose, and it's got a really strong set of beliefs, and you're trying to be the right sort of business, and we're B Corp certified as a business, which is about doing business in the right way, that this reconciliation between kind of growing something and mitigating your impact on the planet is huge. And I think there's always going to be this tension between those sort of opposing forces. But for us, we've had, I put down at the start what I want the brand to be and what it's going to stand for. And that's been like our guiding star right through many, many difficult situations, and we'll continue to do so. Mm-hmm. We started 2030 positive impact report about, you know, becoming not just a sort of not causing an impact, actually becoming a positive impact business. How can you be a positive impact business, and what is our roadmap to doing that? So, and that's the kind of commitment that you can see on our website, and we've published it and stuff like that, and about all the areas that we're working on as a business. So yeah, it's a continual sort of tension, and it's not necessarily conflict. I think if you've got your founding beliefs and your principles set out, even on the wall or on your website or whatever it is, you've got those down, you'll know when it comes to those conflicts which decision is the right one to make.
It'd be really interesting to see some practical examples of how you really brought it through in the brand, what the environmental part meant, sort of, and some of the aspects of the product and the brand, and how you guys operate. That'd be great to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good question, and one often asked, where you have sort of the brand ideology, I suppose, a sort of set of values and beliefs, and why you're here, what your purpose is, and it's something that you can get behind. And you know, it's a very powerful thing, because ultimately, you know, as you said at the start, you want to have something bigger than just the business itself. Probably our most one of our examples I sort of cite quite a lot is the use of Econil in our swimwear. Mm-hmm. Which is obviously, you know, it's for sale right now in the summer. And historically, board shorts and bikinis were made from nylon, which is a really dirty polymer to make, and one to very hard to break down, although it's quite durable actually in its life. So suddenly you've got this idea where, as a brand, we have a set of an intention to make a more sustainable, better product. But what we have out there, the fabric or the polymer that is historically used, how can we're kind of conflicting what we say we're doing with what we're making if we use nylon. So about 4 or 5 years now, we've been working with a company called Econil in Slovenia that repurposed discarded fishing nets in the ocean. Mm-hmm. So 640,000 tons of discarding fishing nets floating around the ocean at any one time. So it's quite a lot.
Wow.
And they collect in these discarded fishing nets, and also office tiles, carpet tiles. There's a massive, people get offices refurbished all the time, and there's loads of tiles. And they repurpose them they break it down and repurpose it into nylon. So, and then with that nylon, we then use in our swimwear and our board shorts. So a really nice story of how you can have a brand ideology about connecting people to the sea and the importance of protecting it. We believe that we can connect people to the sea. We can inspire protection and guardianship. Here's a product that you can wear to go in the sea. It's actually made from product that came out of the sea, and it's starting to look at sort of circular manufacturing. So, quite a cool example of I suppose the brand sort of spirit and ethos coming to life in product.
With the challenges we've seen with lockdown, with the situation we're in, how have you coped with that as an organisation? And do you think the kind of purpose of the business has helped you in this time? And where do you see it going post? Do you see changes to how you operate, or what's going to happen post COVID?
From a business point of view, it was pretty worrying. Like a lot of businesses at the start, we're mainly online. We still have 9 stores around the country, and these have always been places where people go to experience the brand, do loads of events at the stores. And you know, one of the best things when people make friends through store events and go on trips or adventures together. That happens quite a lot, and that was a really beautiful sort of part of the brand that we could kind of help facilitate those kind of relationships and people kind of going off and do their stuff. So, it's quite worrying. That sort of shut overnight, and that was 40% of our revenue just stopped. So, quite a worrying sort of time. But what's been amazing is the way that the team here responded to the challenges. And I think, having a clear purpose, which we've always had, I think from our personal experience, everyone's got their own personal experiences with our experiences, that's been a really even more of a unifying rallying cry, I suppose, to what we're here to do, and the importance of what is actually really important, and stuff that isn't important is less. There's more confidence around that view on the world, I suppose. So, and I think our digital team have really stepped up and delivering content to our community. So, sort of saying, listen, okay, appreciate you can't come to the store, and you might not be able to for a considerable amount of time. So we've now taken all our content online, and we've had yoga sessions, online breathing courses, film nights, Q&As, really kind of stepped up that sort of engagement with our community, and there's been a really good response from them. So that's been fantastic, and we've really enjoyed the dialogue with our customers around that. So I think that'll probably be the way things will stay, actually. So I think there's a long way on to your question, actually. I think that there was some of the stuff was happening in business anyway, and that's kind of just accelerated in terms of what we can do and how we talk to our community.
Anyway, it's been great to talk to you. And actually, I don't think we would have done this as easily if we probably would have all tried to be in the same place. And actually, this is just as good. I love this.
Great to speak to you.
Thanks, Tom.
Bye.
Bye.